doing something that kids do. And so it's not rocket science. It's not the cure for cancer. It's entertainment. It's having fun. And it's, playing music or playing a wrestler on a stage. So, I mean, and like I said, the stories and then the book and the tone reflects that.
Well, there's one story in the book about Kofi Kingston and Vince McMahon that I thought was great. And I think if you're going to give a tease as to get people to buy the book, that's a good story to tease with, because especially fans of this website, because obviously, we're more insider people like the inside news. Do you want to tell that story, or do you want them to buy the book?
Well, I mean, the book will do much more justice than I can in telling it, but it was just basically, it's one of those things about Vince McMahon. He's a very quirky character, and even following this business for years, as I've been in this business for years, and he still, in a lot of ways, is one of the boys, even though he's the head of this big corporation and a billionaire. And part of it is he likes to go rise out of guys, and he likes to push guys and test guys and see how far he can get them to go. And the story I told with Kofi is a true story. We came back on a flight, and everyone had been having some drinks, and Vince did some kind of an offhanded, kind of sarcastic remark to Kofi, and I just kind of told him, like, if you go up and challenge him on that, it's the best thing you could possibly do. And I wasn't trying to rib him, because I've done the same thing many times, especially years ago, and I told him to go F himself when I thought that he was going to take the world title from me, and he kind of liked that sort of thing. He likes it when somebody goes outside the box, and everyone's so afraid of him because he's such an intimidating character. And if you show a little spark, a little spunk, I think he kind of deep down inside likes it. So I just told Kofi go back in there and challenge him, and he did, and it kind of led to a scuffle at the back of the plane. That was never anything serious. It was more just a funny thing. And like I said, you need to read it to really get the full vibe of it. But yes, Kofi and Vince did get into I'm not going to say a fight, but into a wrestling match, shall we say, on the floor of Vince's private jet on the runway a couple of years ago when we landed in Phoenix. And afterwards, I think Vince appreciated the fact that Kofi had done that. You know what I mean? It took a lot of balls from Kofi to do it, and of course me egging him on, but not ribbing him. I wasn't doing it as a joke. I was doing it seriously, trying to help him out. And, I'd forgotten that story was in the book, because when you do a book, you spend so much time on it over months and months and months and months and months. It takes, the better part of a year to write it. And then, all the drafts and all the edits and all the rewrites and all that sort of thing. And then when you're finished with it, it's like almost, I don't ever want to see this book again. You know every single word that's in there and every single page, and every single story. But, it's been a while since I actually read through it, probably 6 months or so, because you just distance yourself from it. And I haven't reread it since it came out. But when people brought that one up, I was like, yeah, it's one of the stories that everyone seems to be fixated on and gravitating towards, because it is such a ridiculous, what, really? But it's a true story, man. You can ask Kofi about it next time you talk to him, and he'll tell you.
It is pretty funny when you mention, the CEO of a huge corporation, a billionaire, multimillionaire, whatever he is, depending on the stock market today, and he's on his private plane, and he's willing to scuffle with somebody. I mean, there are a lot of CEOs out there, and there aren't many that are like Vince McMahon. And you have a lot of respect for Vince McMahon, as you've talked about before. You've said, even though you like to have a little fun on the internet with people and make them wonder, are you going to go to TNA or Japan or wherever, you're never going to wrestle anywhere but WWE, right?
Yeah, well, and that was years ago that I was having the fun. I think at this point people know, because you've seen me gone, from time to time, and whether I'm gone for a year or 6 months or whatever it is, you'll never see me doing anything wrestling related. I've done the odd wrestling autograph convention, I think maybe one in the last couple of years, and I do some signings here and there that are for various things. But as far as it goes wrestling-wise, I haven't taken a bump in any ring that's not a Vince McMahon ring since I started with the company in 1999, and that's the way it's going to be. Unless something happens and I get completely fired and I decide I want to come back to wrestling, well, then I'll have to go somewhere else. But I don't think there's any real reason for that at this point in time. I think, when you play for the big leagues, what's the point? Why go anywhere else?
But still go back and work with